This video was made possible by the EA Creator Network. Hi everyone, and welcome back to a brand new speed build. Today I have a quote-unquote small Windenburg castle. Before we get into the video, I know this isn't small. That's why it's not, in air quotes. Last week we got this new kit, the Castle Estate kit, and I wanted to make a build showing it off, and I ended up doing this, and it's not really a castle, but it isn't like a family home. So I struggled so much with figuring out what to name this. So I ended up calling it a quote unquote small castle, because don't get me wrong, it's not a small house by any means, but it is for a castle, it's small. So yeah, just bear with me on the name. I have been struggling for days to figure out what to name this. I've gone back and forth so many times. I have no idea. I was almost going to call it an estate, because I feel like that also would work, but I feel like it's more castle-ish vibes, but it's also not a full-blown large castle. Anyways, like I said, we got this new kit last week, and I was able to get it through the EA Creator Network, which each and every time I've been able to do this now, which has been for a year and a half now. But it's still, every single time, I'm just kind of in awe over it. It still blows my mind that I am able to get a code and then show it off to you guys. I'm just so thankful for it. But yeah, anyways, I was able to get a code for it, and not gonna lie, I was debating on even getting it, because I have never built a castle before. That's a lie, but if you've been here before, you will know that I don't do this. I normally just build family homes, very cluttered family homes. And I have built a castle once before in my life. You guys have never seen it, because that was for a collab I was supposed to be in, I think almost 2 years ago at this point. But I had to pull out of that collab because of some reasons, my mental health and stuff like that. So don't get me wrong, the people in the collab were amazing. The idea for the collab was amazing. I just did not, my mental health, I couldn't. Also, sorry if you heard any noise. I have to record this right now. I will be talking about that later, but I have to record this right now. And I think my dad was just doing something in the room next to me. I don't know. Anyways, I was highly debating on building this, because this is outside my comfort zone like crazy. The one castle I built, again, it was 2 years ago. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely loved it. I just never actually completely finished it. I think I got halfway through the interior. So me saying that I am outside my comfort zone on this is an understatement. I have no idea what I'm doing. Because I was debating on even getting the kit, I didn't get the kit the day it came out. I think I got it a couple of days after, because I was even just debating on whether I should even make a build with it. I was just what am I doing here? I don't know. But I wasn't sure what I was doing, and so I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. I feel like I was going somewhere with that, but I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. I just woke up, and again, I have to record this right now, so I apologize for anything and everything that will happen in this VC, this voiceover. What am I saying? I don't even know. But yeah, I was again debating on even getting it, and it took me a hot minute to even figure out how to build this and where to build this and everything. I knew I wanted to be built in Windenburg, because that just kind of makes sense for a castle. I feel if there's going to be a castle in any world in this game, it's going to be in Windenburg. Let's be honest. And I was debating on what lot I should have it on, because we do have specifically 2 lots in my mind that would work perfectly for it. There's this one lot in the, if you're looking at the map of Windenburg, on the top left, that part of the world, I think even on the lot that is furthest top left, there's this lot that is, I don't know what it is. I think it's its own lot type, but it's kind of a museum, and it's this very old fancy house that is kind of castle-ish vibes. There's definitely there's been some important people living there. I don't know if it was royalty or maybe the mayor of the town, or whatever. And there is this like beautiful like garden to it on the back of the lot. Like, it would just make a lot of sense to build it there. And I was originally going to build this there, but then I went in the lot and I realized that there are these flags in the front of the lot, which makes sense for it, but screenshot wise, that was gonna be a nightmare. And I did the most content creator thing ever, and I sacrificed a good lot for the sake of screenshots, because screenshots are important. Like, let's be honest here, they're very important. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, specifically, like, if you are a content creator, the first screenshot of the first screenshot of the build, I struggle with saying that apparently, it's like the most important one, because that is what people are going to be clicking on your video for, unless you already like know me and are here for my rambles, which thank you. But like, if you're new here, you've never been here before, first off, hi. But also, you probably clicked on this because you liked the like thumbnail, which is the first screenshot. And the same on like Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that. Like, the first screenshot is very important. So I was like, I am not going to use that lot because of those. To be fair, like, if it would have made sense, it's just, it didn't really fit. And then the second location that also would make sense to have a castle on in this world would be in, like, on the bottom left of the Windenburg map, there is this like island, and there is a little separate island to that, if that makes sense, which I think it's just called like the ruins. I think the lot itself that is there is called like the Bluffs or something like that. And if you own the Get Together expansion pack and you have ever played your game, like literally ever, you probably have gotten several times an invitation to go to the Bluffs in the middle, either like in the middle of the day or the middle of the night. Like, literally there seems to be a party there every single minute of the day. But they tend to have like a lot of parties out there and stuff like that, and it is kind of like a perfect spot to have a castle, but more so a rundown castle. And at first I was debating on making a rundown castle, but then I was like, you know what, that is not my vibe. If you have been here before, you will know I'm not really great at doing like rundown stuff. I am very much a plant and fairy lights girly. I like my clutter. I can't do rundown things. You will even see in this castle, which I will get to talk about, my need to fill every single corner and every single wall with something is gonna be the death of me, because for a castle it makes sense to have like empty spaces, because like they're rich, they don't need to have everything filled. Like, they could, but they don't need to. But I have issues, and like some of the unrealistic parts of this castle, quote unquote castle, I don't even know what to call it. I'm gonna call it a castle, but I don't feel like it's a castle. But anyways, the quote unquote what am I saying? Wait. Hold on. I feel like one of the most unrealistic parts is the amount of like clutter and like plants and stuff like that is in this house, and I'll probably talk about it in a bit. But yeah, so that lot on the bluff, or the bluff slot or whatever, didn't really make sense for me, because it would have to be kind of more of a rundown castle, which again wasn't really what I was going for at first, or at all. With like, well, at first I was like, I might do this, but then in the end I was like, you know what, not doing that. But yeah, so I decided to just build it here in this very just like random space in Windenburg, but I feel like it worked out in the end. I mean, if you for some reason want to have a lot of castles in your game, you can just fill up this entire space, like this, like all the lots in this like neighborhood with castles, and it will fit in. It's fine. Don't worry about it. But anyways, let's move on and talk a little bit more actually about the build and the new kit. So, like I've said like 3 times now, I wanted to build this to show off the new kit, which once again, wasn't 100% sure if I was going to do, but then I saw the build went by and I was like, I need this in my game. So, I don't build castles ever, but I am in love with this kit. I feel like every single kit that has been, or like every single pack or content that the Sims team has put out recently, have all just been kind of amazing. And a lot of it looks like CC, and that is definitely the case for this, and I am not complaining. Like, I feel like the Sims team has been seeing what we as like players have been doing on our own, like specifically like CC creators and stuff like that, which honestly, if you're a CC creator, all props to you. Couldn't be me. You're amazing. I love you. But I feel like the Sims team has actually been taking note of like what we want and like how we want our games to look, and the amount, like the things we've been getting are amazing, and this kit is no exception. So going into this build, I knew that I wanted to do, well, three things, but like two things, if that makes sense. The first, like the one that is like kind of obvious, and which is why I said like two things, but it's actually like three things, because that like third thing is I wanted to build a castle, which is like pretty obvious. But then the like other things are, number one, I knew, like going into this, I wanted to use these new like stone wallpaper, this new stone wallpaper, and the stone flooring, and the like foundation and stuff like that, which might be a little bit weird, but basically this entire kit focuses more on the, or not more, it focuses completely on the build aspects of build and buy. Like there's technically two things in the like buy menu, but they're still for the exterior. So this is a build kit. It's not a build and buy kit, it's a build kit, and I think that makes sense. I do wish we would have gotten like some maybe interior furnishings, but I totally understand that this is a kit. We're not gonna get like that much stuff in it, which like totally makes sense, and the amount of detail put into the things we got is amazing. So again, I want to use these like stone, why do I keep saying these stone? This stone wallpaper and flooring and foundation, which once again might be a little bit weird, but have you seen them? They're so pretty. We have a few different like swatches of them, of course, and I love what the Sims team did with it. So like for the wallpaper, for example, we have like a few different colors of it, but then those colors have few different variants. So take for example, like you could have like a normal like gray stone wallpaper, or like this wallpaper has like a regular like gray stone, you know, swatch, and it can be like kind of clean, like, you know, kind of normal. Sorry if you heard that. I hit my elbows on my chair. That sounded a little really weird. God, really weird. I can't talk apparently. But anyways, you can have that like kind of like clean, normal looking like stone wallpaper. But then there will be a dirty version of that. Like it will be the same swatch, but it will be like dirty. And then there's another swatch where it's like dirty on top and then it fades into the clean. And like it is so cool. And I definitely would have used that in this build if it wasn't for me wanting to use this particular swatch of the of the wallpaper, which I will get to. But like the way you can have like dirty, like the first floor can be dirt, or like the third floor I guess technically can be dirty, and then the second floor can have that like fading one, so it fades into it being like clean, and then the bottom floor can be clean. Like the ombre effect you can make with this is absolutely incredible, and I've seen so many incredible builds like utilizing that. And again, I would have used it for this if it wasn't for the fact that as soon as I saw the build and buy, and as soon as I got into my game and saw like what was in this, I knew that I wanted to use this one particular swatch of this wallpaper, which has this kind of just like regular stone, kind of on the yellowish tint of the stone, but it has some like greenery coming through the stones, which, if you know me, you know that I would of course love. Like I talked about before how I'm a plant girly. I would put plants everywhere and ivy and, you know, like all of that. And like I love landscaping and, you know, all of that. And this wallpaper, and it's the same, they did the same thing for the flooring, which you will see I used, like on the exterior, you will probably currently see it on the screen actually. But like they have like the stone flooring, and then like there's greenery peeking through the stones. The stones. Sorry, again, I'm losing it. And the same with the foundation. You won't really see the foundation a lot because I covered it up late landscaping, but I promise it's there. I promise. But like it is so pretty and so realistic. Like if you've ever been to a very, very like old house, specifically like a more like fancy house that has this kind of stone, this happens all the time. Like throughout the years, like I imagine this castle has been here, like this build has been here for like maybe like 200 years, if not more. So it's gonna have some like wear and tear, which again makes sense with like the fact that you can do like the ombre effect now. Like that makes a lot of sense. But also like having this greenery come through, just it looks so pretty and it looks like CC, and I'm absolutely in love with it. And that was like the number one thing I knew that I wanted to use when I was building this. Like I was like, you know what, I'm using this. And I try to use usually like at least like 2 wallpapers on the exterior just to give the build a bit of dimension. But for this one, I just kept with this one stone wallpaper, and I think it looks the best. Like, I just think it looks so good. And I do end up using some like live edit ivy as well, just to add to the like overgrown feel. And I think the ivy I used was from the Discover University like debug menu, and it fits in so well, and it looks so pretty, and I am absolutely in love with it. Like, I know I'm going to be using this stone like flooring all the time in like my gardens, just because it looks so realistic. Like, don't get me wrong, I love this kit, but realistically I don't know how much I'm going to be using this kit in like my other like family builds, because again, like, there's not like, when am I going to use like these windows? Or actually, the windows are really pretty, and I do see myself using them in like some settings, but like, you know, like some of the, like the doors, when am I going to be using those doors? Probably not a lot, but like this stone flooring, I love the greenery peeking through, like, it's so pretty. I love it so much. But yeah, and the second thing that I knew that I wanted to do with this build was, of course, to use the windows and as many things of the windows as possible. I mean, my goal with this build in the first place was to use as many like things from this new kit as possible, and that includes the windows, because we got so many new windows and like doors and stuff like that. Like, again, this pack really focuses on the build portion of build and buy, and the windows are to die for. They're so pretty. We have a few different variants of them. We have some that are just square, and then we have a few different lengths of them. One thing that I really do appreciate about this kit is that that they didn't just focus on like one wall height. Like, there are windows for every single wall height. In this house, I actually ended up using the tall wall height for the bottom floor, which, when did I last use the tall wall height? I don't think I've ever used the tall wall height. I don't. I am a short wall height girly. I sometimes use the medium wall height just to like for specific builds and stuff like that, but it's not common for me to use that. But for this one, I used the tall wall height for like the first floor, and then the second floor and the third floor are the medium wall heights. But it was kind of funny to use the tall wall height. But anyways, I love that the Sims team didn't just focus on like one of the wall heights or whatever, because they tend to do that sometimes, and it's kind of annoying. Specifically, like, if you are like me and you like building mostly with a short wall height, and then we just get things for the medium wall height, and you're like, guys, love you, but why did you do this? But I think for this kit, it also like makes sense to have tall wall height, because if there's going to be, or like tall wall and medium wall height things, because like if there's going to be a like kit or like a pack that has, or like a style, I guess I was trying to say, that has like the medium wall height and the tall wall height, it's going to be like a castle or like something fancy, of course. But yeah, we have these beautiful windows. We have these square ones, which again come in a few different like wall heights and stuff like that. I love them. I'm probably going to be using them in a few different types of builds, because they are kind of versatile and they just look so beautiful. And then we have these other windows that have kind of like an arched top, if that makes sense. And that's where like I didn't use all of them, because we have, again, a few different variations of it. We have this like very tiny one, which I used for the kind of like octagonal like towers. Like, for those towers, I used that small, like the small little window, and it looks so pretty. And then I ended up using like the kind of skinnier version of this like beautiful window that has the arched top on like some portions of the build, but not a lot, but just like in a few places. I think you'll see them on the second floor, actually. And then I wanted to use the other versions of those windows, which are like a more wide version of the like arched window, kind of. I don't know how to explain it, but anyways, I wanted to use that so badly because they're so pretty. They just didn't fit in for this build. I do end up using it. You won't see me do this because I did this off cam, but you will see me do this I know you will not see me do this, but you will see the screenshots and stuff like that, on the kind of like square tower in the back on the third floor, like on the top floor, I do end up using them. So you will see that in the screenshots. But yeah, I ended up using it there, but otherwise I didn't use them just because they just didn't fit in this build, but they are absolutely beautiful, and I tried really hard to make them work at first, but they just didn't work. So yeah, other than that, I do think I end up using every single thing from this kit, and I absolutely love it. It's so pretty. It is like, it's just so pretty, and the like amount of detail they put into all of it, and I love them so much. I do wish we had a like, I know that the doors are supposed to be like big and fancy and castle-like, but I struggled for the front door because I wanted to use one from the tall wall height, of course, because I do use the tall wall height, but the one door that we got from the tall wall height is really wide, and I like tried to use it at first, but then it was like peeking through into the house itself, so it just didn't make sense. So I do end up using the medium wall height door for the front door, but like other than that, I love all the doors. I love everything about this kit. It's so beautiful. The amount of details they put in is just like incredible. I love it so much. Also, I can't believe we're like 20 minutes into the build and I've still just been talking about the kit itself. That's surprising. But yeah, so when it came to like the interior of this build, because again, this kit focuses on the build portion of build and buy, I struggled. Like, don't get me wrong, I struggled with the exterior too. Like, I struggled so much. You would have seen it because like normally in like one of my usual like builds, when I have like a backyard or whatever, I can put like a swing set or like, you know, like a basketball hoop and like, you know, like those types of like family things. For this, I can't really, because I wanted this to be fancy and like, of course, and even though this house ends up having room for 2 parents, 1 teen, and a kid, I didn't want it to be like family oriented. Like, that wasn't my goal with this, so I struggled so hard with what to do on the exterior. So my solution to that was just to put benches everywhere. Which doesn't make any sense. Like, I feel like I'm definitely gonna have people commenting like, Mel, this is beautiful and all, but like, this is not realistic at all. And like, I know, but we don't talk about it. It's fine. But I ended up putting benches all over the place, and like in general for the exterior I did struggle a lot. I did use a lot of things from the Romantic Garden Stuff pack. Like, it just worked so well for it. I think in general I used a lot from the Romantic Garden Stuff pack. Obviously the new kit, like that's the main focus of this, but also from like Realm of Magic, Vampires, Get Together, and Discover University. I think those are like the main packs I used. Obviously I didn't restrict myself, and there would be a full list of all the packs I used down below, but I think those are like the main ones I used, at least that I can remember. But yeah, for the exterior I struggled like a lot. And that's why you will see me have benches all over the place. When it came to the interior, I struggled even more. This build took me a couple of days to build, and I like normally don't speak about Sims stuff like with my friends because they don't know Sims. Like, they don't play it, they don't really like, I mean, some of them have played it, but like they don't play it a lot, and they don't understand like build and buy, if anything. And so I don't talk about Sim stuff with them, which is fine. Like, I will be sitting doing my own Sim stuff, and they will be playing other games together, and I can just be there in VC with them. They can be doing their stuff, I can be doing my stuff, and I love it. That's just how our kind of dynamic work, and I absolutely love it. But for once, I was talking to them about this because I was like, guys, I'm struggling and I'm dying over here. Because like this was really hard for me to do, and I don't know why. Like, again, to be fair, I don't build this type of stuff ever, so like it makes sense that I was struggling, but oh my god, was I struggling, like, dear lord. And don't get me wrong, I had a lot of fun with it, but I struggled a lot. And for the interior, again, my need to clutter everything up doesn't really make sense for this type of build, but I decided to do it anyways because I feel like it's a Mal build. it's gonna have some clutter. Like, I feel like that's just my kind of stamp on things. It's the clutter. I feel like if you saw this on Instagram or whatever, and you're scrolling through it and like saw the screenshots, specifically the screenshot, or the screenshots of like the living room, you'd be like, yeah, this is Mal build. It's overly cluttered. It's a Mal build. So again, I am so sorry it's not realistic, but like, I tried my best here. I tried my best. I was really, I'm struggling to speak today. I'm sorry. But like, I was really struggling to, what's it called? I don't even know what I was going to say. I have no idea what I was going to say. Well, that thought is out the window. I know I was going somewhere with that, but I don't remember it. But I just, in general, again, I was struggling with this. It had a lot of fun. Again, don't get me wrong. I was having a lot of fun, like, using objects that I normally would never ever use, but it was hard. And you will probably never see a castle from me ever again. I am sorry if you're like, we're holding out to see a lot of castles from me now. No, won't happen. Don't worry. Next week I'll be back with my regular scheduled. I was gonna say like suburban family homes. You're not getting a suburban next week. You're getting a different build, which I'm very excited about, but not a suburban. But like, that's more of like my usual stuff. This, not my usual stuff. But again, I did have a lot of fun with it. And like, don't get me wrong, I am super grateful to be able to get like a code through the A-Create network. Again, I'm still shocked that I'm able to do that. But I probably won't be using this kit a lot. I'll probably be using the stone flooring and some of the windows, but like in general, probably won't be using this kit in like every single build, just because it's not my thing. I do know that a lot of people have been really excited about this, which is like totally understandable. And I do like that the Sims team gives us different things. Like, I know people that loves building castles. Like, if you've been on Twitter or Instagram, or like Sims Twitter and Instagram, you will know this person. You probably will know her anyways if you're like within the Sims community, but like Juby Sims, absolutely amazing creator and so nice. Like, one of the nicest people I know, like so nice and so just wholesome. I love her. But she builds castles all the time. Like, that's her thing. And I know that she's been really wanting this. So I'm so happy that for like people like her, like people that love building castles, we now have this kit. For me, I'm a suburban person. I like suburbans. So it's not my thing, but I'm happy we had it for the people that want it. And like, don't get me wrong, I built this. I have no idea who is going to be using this. Like, I don't know why you would want to live in this house with your Sims, but maybe you have a storyline where like your Sims, I don't know, live here. I don't know. This is such a bad explanation, but like, I don't know, you can live here if you want to. You could also definitely make it into a museum. I did have that thought for a bit. I was like, should I make this into a museum? But then I decided to make it into like an actual livable castle, because I am an idiot and I want to torture myself. But yeah, I don't know why you would want to live here. You can now do that if you want to. Again, you could definitely like turn it into a like museum and stuff like that. Like, the amount of castle museums or like estate museums I've been to in my life is quite questionable. I built a like museum, I think it was almost like a year ago now. I will link up in the card if you want to see it, but in that I was talking about how I actually love going to museums, and I think that's just because I was that one grandchild that went to museums with her like mom and grandma all the time. Like, I was that one grandchild. I feel like there's always that one grandchild, and I was that. So yeah, I have been to many museums in my day, specifically like castle ones, because I don't know why, but we have so many like castles and estates in Sweden. It's fucking hilarious. I didn't mean to swear there, but that's okay. It's really funny because I don't know why we have them. To be fair, we are a monarchy and we have been for hundreds and hundreds of years at this point. So like, it does make sense, but also it does make sense because so many of them have been turned into like museums or whatever, and I've been to them so many times. Like, I think I've been to this like one particular one thousands of times. Not actually, that's an over exaggeration, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I've been there so many times. And yeah, so like, I've been to castles a lot, weirdly, which I don't think it's normal. Like, don't get me wrong, again, they're all museums. I've never been to like an actual livable castle. I'm not that fancy. Would be really funny too, though. But yeah, that's just not really me. So again, don't come at me if this is a very unrealistic castle. I have never been in a livable one. I've been in again, like museum ones, but never an actual like livable one. And like you can again definitely make this into a museum if you want to. I like one of the things I wanted to do with this also was to not have things that look too out of place. Like I didn't want to have like a tablet like all over the place, or like a remote in the living room and stuff like that, because like even though if there were like Sims or people in general like living here in this house right now, there would be like technology because in the day and age that we live in. But I was thinking kind of like if you've ever watched like Gilmore Girls, love Gilmore Girls. I'm currently on a rewatch of that. I freaking love Gilmore Girls. But like if you've ever watched Gilmore Girls, you will know that like Emily and Richard's house, like that is so fancy, and never ever would you see like a remote there or like a TV there. And so I didn't want to have those things in this build per se, but for playability, I did put in a TV in the living room, but it is the TV that we got with the modern Luxe kit, so it is the TV that looks like a painting, so it doesn't look out of place. It looks fine, and there is also a computer. So in this study, I ended up using a computer, but I ended up using the one that came with the Cottage Living expansion pack, which looks like a typewriter. So it also just doesn't look out of place too much. So I didn't want it to look out of place, but also for playability, we kind of need those things. So hopefully it won't look too weird. I do end up putting like speakers and stuff like that in the house. However, they don't look like speakers. I use, I think, one that came with also the modern Luxe kit that is this like vinyl like record player, which I think also like makes sense in this type of house. And then we also have this, I think they actually are from the debug menu, I think, or maybe I'm wrong. I want to say they're from the debug menu. I don't know why. But we have this like, I want to say like a gramophone. I don't know if that's correct, but it looks like a very old school, like, record player, like, you know, I want to say a gramophone. I don't think that's right, but I put it in the living room, and I think I ended up putting one in the study as well, and I think they're from the Discover University pack. Don't quote me on that. I think so, though. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, I didn't want to have a lot of things that like look too out of place. Again, I know in general, this isn't really realistic, but I wanted to keep up the fancy vibe, even though it's not too realistic anyways. But yeah, I don't know if there was anything else I wanted to talk about for this build. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to ask me in the comments and I will answer them. Yeah, I don't know. Again, I given like this is very out of my style, or very outside my comfort zone, I am kind of proud of this build because again, it took me a lot and like a lot of time, and the amount that my friends have heard me complain is insane. Like I genuinely can't remember the last time I was talking to my friends so much about like a build I was doing, because they don't care about sim stuff, but I was just like, guys, I have like 2 rooms left, I can do this, and they were like, we believe in you, Mel. So love my friends, they're supportive. But yeah, it was a hard build to do, but I did have a lot of fun. And again, I think my favorite part was just like using objects and stuff like that I can't normally use. Like, when on earth have I like used these paintings that I used in this, and like when have I used like some of the lights and stuff like that? Like, I never ever. I did struggle with the curtains. Like specifically, I struggled with the curtains mostly on the first floor, because again, I use the tall wall height because I like to torture myself. Actually, there's one specific reason I use the tall wall height. You will have seen like at the front of the build, I wanted to use this new kind of like archway that we got with the kit, that has like, it looks like an archway, but then it has these like bars coming down. I don't know how to explain them, so that's how I'm gonna explain them. It doesn't really make any sense, but if you know, you know. But I wanted to use those, or I wanted to use that one because it's really fancy and I love it. Like, it's one of my new favorite things from this pack, and I just wanted to show it off and stuff like that. And that one is for the tall wall height, and at first I was like, you know what, I can make it work with the medium wall height. I couldn't. It was peeking through the roof, so I didn't do that. So that's the reason I used the tall wall height, actually. But for the first floor, like me using the tall wall height, I struggle with the curtains because we don't have a lot, if any, tall wall height curtains. So I ended up using base game ones, but I sized them up using the tool mod because that was like the only way that was gonna work. And then on the second floor, I mostly used the ones from the Modern Luxe kit. I did, actually, you know how I was talking about before how like which packs I used a lot and stuff like that? I think I mostly actually used, like, if there's any other kit that I used a lot, it would have been the Modern Luxe kit, which makes sense. It does focus on, like, you know, fancy stuff. I didn't use, like, the modern part of it, per se, but more so the luxe part of it. If that makes any sense. I don't know if that makes any sense. But, yeah, I struggled a bit, but I had fun, so it's fine. Also, I wanted to mention that, again, you probably have seen now by this point, we are like 30, almost 40 minutes into the video, and you would have probably seen that there are a few different towers to this build. So there are like 3, I think. Don't quote me on that. I think there's like 3 of these like octagonal towers. I think they're octagons, right? I think they have 8 sides. I think so. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure. And there are some of those, and they were kind of like small ones. So for the third floor, those are empty. I could not like utilize that. Like I couldn't use the third floor of those. So like the quote unquote third floor from those towers doesn't have anything. And in general, I struggled so much with furnishing those like octagonal things in all the rooms. There's one in the parents' bedroom, there's ones in the teens' bedroom, there's one in the kitchen, and there's one in what's it called? The living room. That's what it's called. And there's also like one sort of in like 2 of the bathrooms. You won't see me decorate those bathrooms, but dear Lord, was that a struggle. And for each and every room, I struggled a bit. I struggled. In the teen's bedroom, it ends up being kind of like a painting corner, which kind of set up the entire theme for that room, because I was kind of thinking that teen really likes painting just because of that. Like I was like, what am I gonna do in this corner? And I was like, you know what? Painting, because that fits in there. And then in the living room, I ended up using a piano to fill up the space, which is like what I normally would do when I have like an octagonal shape. Not that I have them a lot in my builds, but when I do, I tend to fill it out with a piano because it just fits in perfectly. And in the parents' bedroom, I ended up using a like vanity, and which I just think fitted very, very well and just looked great in my opinion, in my not so humble opinion. And then in the kitchen, I ended up using it for like a little breakfast nook. But in general, I struggle with those. And then there are 2 kind of like square towers as well, and they're kind of big. And I struggled with the floor plan in general for this just because of those towers. And like I was like, how do I floor plan this? I do end up really liking the floor plan, but it was a struggle. So like downstairs, you won't see me furnish one of those parts, but like if right as you enter the house, to your left is one of those like square rooms, and ended up putting like an organ, I think it's called, one of those like stand-up pianos, but like it's a fancy one from the Vampires pack, and I'm pretty sure it is an organ. I think that's what it's called. Don't quote me on that. The amount of times I said don't quote me on that in this video is insane. But yeah, I ended up using that there, and then just kind of making it a sitting place. And then you would have seen like off the dining room, there's also one of those like square rooms, and it ends up being kind of like a bar room, because if there's any house that's gonna have like a designated bar room, it's gonna be this type of house. And then on the second floor, above the like bar room is where the study is, and then above that kind of like organ room or whatever you want to call it ends up being the kids' bedroom. And the reason I started on this rant about those towers was because only one of the towers on like the 3rd floor has something in it, and that is the one that goes up from the kids' bedroom. I ended up putting a ladder in there, and just having like, I think I used one of those like puppet like we're gonna have like puppet shows or whatever that we got with the kids room stuff pack up there. So like, I don't know, the kid can have a little bit of a show up there. I did for a moment, I was like, actually, am I gonna delete this because I have no idea what I'm gonna do up here? But then I think I figured it out in the end. But yeah, I think that was it for the build. I think that was it. I don't know. This, by the way, is my second time recording this voiceover, which is why I have to record this right now, because I recorded this last night. I talked for like 50 minutes. It wasn't a great voiceover, but it was a voiceover. I did it. I recorded it. By the end of it, I was dead, but I did it. And then this morning, literally 10 minutes before I started recording this voiceover, I was going to edit it. And then I realized that the file was corrupt, which has never happened to me before. I don't think it's ever happened to me before for a voiceover. I've never had the file itself being corrupt. But like the file was just like, it wouldn't open. And then the one time I was able to open it in Audacity, it was just pure like white noise. So I had to re-record this. This video has to go up tomorrow. So don't get me wrong, like there's no like real stress really right now, but sorry, I just got a message on my phone and I just looked at it, which I shouldn't have, but it's an important message. But anyways, I don't want to record this a second time. Like, don't get me wrong, again, I have time, like this is going up tomorrow, but I have to edit it and stuff like that as well. And I was so set on like editing this voiceover and then like building for a few hours, but no, I have to record this now, which is fine. Like, I don't mind it, but that's so annoying. Which is also kind of why I'm like a little bit confused at times when I'm speaking, because I don't know what I've said in this voiceover versus what I said in yesterday's voiceover. I have no idea. So hopefully I haven't forgotten anything important. Again, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments and I will answer them. But yeah, it was quite the struggle. It was quite the struggle to wake up this morning and realize, or this afternoon, and realize I have to record this again. And also because like I tend to record during like Nate's time? Night's time. I don't know, I said it like that. But I tend to record during nighttime because that's when my family is asleep, and so like there's no other noise. But I have to record this now, and it's like midday, and so my family is up and running. Well, to be fair, there's only like 3 of us home, but like my family's here, and so if you have heard any background noises, I am so sorry. But I can't really, like, you know, I can't do this at another time, so I am sorry. But yeah, anyways, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys have had a better day than I have. It hasn't been a bad day. It has just been an annoying one. But yeah. Anyways, what else was there? I don't think there's anything else about the build per se I wanted to talk about. We're almost done with the video anyways, so I'm just like trying to figure out something to talk about. I was talking to my friends about it a couple of days ago. Again, for once I was talking about Sims content with them, which I normally don't do. But one of them was basically like hating on Sims content and was like, I don't understand why people watch it or whatever. And it was like one of my friends, and then everyone else was like, you know what, just because you don't watch it doesn't mean that it's not valid. And I was like, thank you guys for having my back. I love my friends. And by the way, like he's a little special, that one person who was like complaining about Sims content. He's a little special. We don't pay attention to him. I'm kidding, we love him, but like, you know. And then one of my friends was like, to be fair though, not only does people watch Sims content, but if they're watching Mal's Sims content, they're most likely not watching it just for the build. They're watching it for the podcast, because at this point, like, to be fair, at this point, my videos are just podcasts of me rambling about things. For this one, I've actually talked about the build just because there was a lot of things to talk about for this build, but like normally I don't. Normally it's just a like 40-minute podcast. And I definitely feel like this like channel in general is the definition of you come for the build, you stay for the mal. Because if like you can like the build, but if you don't like me, you're not gonna stay. But if you come for the build and you like the build and then you like me, which I don't know I would, but thank you, I am so happy you're here. But like you would stay for me because I don't know, that's just how it is. So yeah. I don't know how I got on this topic. We're almost done with the video. It's fine. Anyways, that's basically it for this video, and I really hope you liked it. And don't forget to like, share, comment, and of course subscribe. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.